Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back for another Reign after show here on AfterBuzz TV. We're talking Dead of Night, episode 11. So much happened in this episode. Gideon and Mary meet up. So much to talk about, so stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Not only was the episode fantastic, but the after show is going to be equally fantastic because, unlike last episode, I have co-hosts.
Yay!
Alina Vission is back.
Hey guys, sorry I was sick last week, but I'm back at it again.
And Keetin's somewhere in the world. So he's like Carmen Sandiego.
Yes.
Figure out where she is in the world. So we've recruited someone new. And just so I don't butcher her name, I'm not even going to attempt. You introduce yourself to the Reign fans. Now, mind you, Reign fans, she has our full applause, which means you guys have to welcome her into the Reign family as well.
Hey everyone, I'm Lena Nori, and you can find me on socials at Lena Nori, and I'm so excited to be here. I have my gorgeous mole twin over here.
Yes, and almost named twin.
Alina, Lena.
Exactly.
We did that on purpose.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Look at that.
This was meant to be.
Before we dive into today's episode, what do you love about the show? What drove you to watch the show? And lastly, what did you think of tonight's episode?
So, I'm just such a hopeless romantic, and I think that's kind of what draws me to the show is that you're following Mary through this journey. First it started with Francis, and then it went to Condé, and it's like, I feel like I live through her. Like, my journey is through her, following her, and I'm
marry
hoping...
a lot of princes and they die on you?
You know, princes, yeah, pretty much. So, for me, it's that I love, obviously, movies during that time and shows during that time, but I just can relate to Mary. I feel like she's just traveling through this journey, figuring herself out, and just looking for love. And I was really hoping in this episode that she was going to find that love with, not Lord Bothwell, but she was going to find that love with her husband. And I was like, she's going to get it all. She's going to get the child, the heir to the throne, England, and then her husband. And then, of course, he ends up being a snake. And unfortunately, I'm no longer.
South.
Yes.
Goes south. All right. Well, before we get into that, let's take a look at France. Obviously, a lot happens in France, but sort of overall standalone storyline. So I figured we'd start there. Let's start with Narcisse and Nicole. Their relationship is developing quite nicely.
Yes, it is. I mean, we knew that this was going to happen, obviously. It's Narcisse. I mean, you know.
I think he's actually starting to fall for her. They're kind of like two peas in a pod, those two.
You think? See, I don't know if he's falling for her. Because I always see, like, this glimmer in his eye of, like, oh, I know this is so wrong. But I'm still going to do it. You know, the old Narcisse way. But it'll be interesting to see as the storyline progresses, especially now that Henry knows, or suspects. Is it Henry? Charles?
No, Henry.
Henry,
You're correct.
yes, okay.
You're correct.
I messed myself up before we were talking. Knows... or suspects that they're seeing each other.
Well, I love Narcisse. Like, you better get your facts straight, little boy.
Yeah.
I believe he called it a feather in the wind.
Yes.
Like his rumors of what he thinks.
It'll tickle you. Yes.
So a very good reflection by Narcisse there.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what's strange to me is that he's turning towards Team Henry. And he said, I don't want to be on the losing team anymore to Catherine. And it's funny because there's also that scene where they're in the tennis match, Henry and Charles, and you can see Nicole kind of like glancing at Henry and during the feast that he had, and he had those like I believe they were Turkish dancers, you could see she was kind of like eyeing him, and it seems like there's something like that cunning part, like the cunning part of him, the backstabbing part of him, it's intriguing Nicole and Narcisse, and it further kind of validates the fact that they're like the same person. Nicole and Narcisse are literally... like, she's the female version of Narcisse.
Right. Plus, she wants to stay in court. Like, she does not want to leave court. So I'm sure she's thinking in the back of her head, if I have to latch on to this guy, I'm willing to do that because I want to be here. Yeah.
The term no longer fully applies, but I remember calling her the evil version of Leith. Remember, because Leith was rising in rank, but she's the evil version, and so yeah, she's definitely gonna have her opportunities. And speaking of opportunities, we're gonna have the opportunity to have her in studio for episode 13.
Yay!
So
cannot wait. Yeah,
excited about that. in terms of Narcisse, yeah, you're right. He's going over to Henry, but before we'll backtrack in a minute. But just in terms of that decision, we have Keetin, ladies and gentlemen.
Keetin!
Poor Keaton's like feeling like she's interrupting.
Come in.
Absolutely.
The more the
Slide on
merrier.
in,
Get
girl.
on in here.
We're just talking about your
Grand
favorite.
entrance.
We're talking about that
Nicole.
amazing hair.
Nicole,
Yes.
oh, thank you.
And
I was
her.
inspired by Mary and them watching, so.
Nice.
I'm gonna look bald though when I have my headphones on. I feel like unless I like.
You can still see it. You can still see the braid. Yeah.
Hi, guys.
Keetin Marchi,
Sorry,
ladies
I'm
and
late.
gentlemen.
I'm Big Bear today.
Nice.
All good.
Back. So I'm back. I'm here. Where are we?
So we're in the midst of talking about Narcisse's turn to the dark side and supporting Henry.
I don't think this is a turn to the dark side, personally.
Okay.
I
Do tell.
think Charles, okay, first of all, Henry's a cutie. Cutie
Right?
patootie.
Yes.
I kind of feel
just talking about
We were just
that.
saying he's the taller version, better looking version.
Yes.
Kind of looks a little bit like Francis more than Charles.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, he's a cutie patootie. I agree with Narcisse. I think he is much more kingly than Charles is.
Right.
Obviously, Charles has been through a lot. And at this point, I think, it's a little too far gone at this point. Catherine's kind of got a, I mean, I know she did her voodoo and stuff, but, Catherine, girl, you just kind of have to step back because the brothers are already warring, and I think the safest thing for Charles at this point is to just be abdicate and just go away. Because if you're up against Henry, he will cut you down.
Right. But she makes the point that even if he does do that, somebody will eventually kill him because he's
Yes.
still a threat to the throne.
Yeah, but that's why I think he needs to go far away. Send him to Scotland to hang out with Mary.
Another continent, somewhere else. Really far.
Have him go to the Americas.
Americas,
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
exactly.
Elizabeth wants to explore. Why don't you
There
just
you
work
go.
for her?
Yeah. No, I just think it's. I think Charles is being a little dumb at this point. I think Narcisse. I think he said it right. He's like, I always look out for myself, and Narcisse is now trying to align himself with the person who he feels like is the strongest person for. His kind of betterment within French court. So
Cool.
Narcisse is being smart.
Coincidental that Henry is exactly pretty much like Henry,
Well,
right?
Yes.
That's probably why I
Yeah.
like him so much. He's just like his dad, my favorite DILF.
I think it's interesting because I think Catherine, being so conniving herself, she understands that Henry should be king. He has more kingly qualities than Charles does.
Right.
But I think it's that she's more concerned about the Valois heir, and she's saying that if by putting Henry in place of Charles, Charles will have to be killed. Even if he abdicates himself, he'll have to be killed to secure the throne. And then she's saying that's going to be one less Valois left, which is going to make them susceptible to getting taken by Spain or wherever else.
But this is the thing. Spain isn't on Charles' side. Spain is on Henry's side.
Exactly.
So if you
Yeah.
think if you're going to be nervous about Spain kind of coming after you, then you got to back Henry. You can't be backing Charles at this point.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate because I think Charles has come a long way, and I do like him. I hate Nicole, so anything to get Nicole out of here, I'm like, yes, get Charles and Nicole out. I'm so tired of her. She's she's
Well, a couple
minx.
things. I give Henry. I give Henry a lot of credit for figuring out the Nicole thing. You guys were all not here, so I speculated last episode that Henry's going to figure this out, and lo and behold, he did. This episode. But in terms of that, I want to switch gears because we've been talking about it. At that point, I don't think they had the phrase coined, be careful what you wish for. But I wish someone could tell it to Catherine, because where are we headed with this voodoo stuff? We've been down the dark path of supernatural.
Well, I remember when the writers were in, they said that we were going
Right,
to kind of
that's
touch
right.
back in on that. So I'm excited to see
So
it.
that's probably what it is.
Yeah,
Ooh.
that's probably it. And obviously, Catherine has had a lot of the occult surrounding her the entire time we've known her since season 1. So this is gonna bite her in the butt. Come on.
Well, not just Catherine. Bash had sent a messenger to Mary and said, you're either going to find love or you're going to have England and you're going to have an heir. So it's I feel like the black magic's kind of finding its way back in.
Absolutely, yeah.
And the question is, who's going to die?
Do you know what I'm really excited about? Speaking of Bash, Torrance just started following me on Instagram, and he likes my photos. I'm like, yes, Torrance! Bash, Bash would come back into Scottish court because I feel like Mary is struggling.
She's lost it.
She is.
Very cool. Well, he's not following me, so I'm a little upset by that. But let's stick with the thought here.
You could be his twin.
That goes so far back.
You gotta go through, listen, listeners that are newer, we had a bash off.
They did when he came in for interviews.
We said who would be the better bash,
Yeah.
me or Bash.
Did you win?
You're Bash.
No, Bash won.
Of course, yeah.
Anyway, that's some history for you guys of us.
Team Phil.
There you go.
Phil.
Yeah, but I do want to get your opinions on Catherine. In particular, you guys. Obviously, Keetin said hers, but where do we see this going? Is this a good thing? And what does this even mean for Charles? Like, can he control his own body? Like, what does this mean?
Exactly. I mean, I don't know what this Turkish like voodoo mama juju stuff is gonna do. So, Catherine always seems to get her way somehow. It's never like a dead end for her. She always figures something out. Maybe he gets sick. I don't know. I don't ever see this ending up well, but it might end up well for her. But you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I'll let you go into this.
Okay, call me crazy. You guys are going to want to send me to an asylum after this. But I have this weird hunch based off absolutely nothing. But it's just, wishful thinking is that, they say every time you do black magic, there's some kind of a cost. That Francis is going to come back. So the way it's going to save Charles is that if Francis comes back, he's the rightful king. Like I said, it's wishful thinking. And then I'd be Team Frary again, Francis and Mary. Wouldn't that be amazing?
That would be, but I don't think that's a cost.
I don't think that's a cost.
This is what I'm worried about because when she grabbed that hairbrush, I think that's Nicole's hair. And I think Nicole's going to end up being the one who rises in power because of this thing. And she's going to rise in power because she's going to team up with him.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm saying.
We bow down.
And Charles, I think, will be dead in the next couple episodes. I think that's really unfortunately, and I think that's what Catherine's going to have to face is like to save her position in power at this point. It's like you better back Henry too, like, or you're kind of screwed.
I never thought that could have been Nicole's hair in the brush, but yeah.
I was wondering why there was so much hair in that
I know,
brush.
exactly. I was like,
Is that a dog
what
hair
type
brush?
of shampoo are you using?
He's got long hair. Come on. All right. Well, those are all very good theories. See what happens when you show up? Good theories.
Here we go.
All right. Let's swing on over to England. A lot happened. Well, first off, I want to get your guys' opinion because Alina and I have talked about Gideon and Elizabeth and their blossoming relationship.
Right.
But from your guys' perspective, how did you guys feel about this relationship?
Gideon and Elizabeth?
Yeah, were you giddy?
Well,
Unintended.
this is the thing. I've always I really didn't like Gideon when he first showed up. I was like, who is this guy? I wasn't very attracted to him. I was like, I don't get what the point of this character. But I really do. I've really grown to like this guy, and especially after seeing kind of the weird. Well, by the end of this episode, I'm pissed at him. But I really like him for Elizabeth, and but I think he's just gonna cause problems, and I think he needs to do what he thinks he needs to do, and he needs to leave because at this point he's gonna be causing England more harm by kind of being Elizabeth's mistress, kind of lover. And I think he's not the type of guy who's good at that stuff. So I think it's just gonna cause problems for Elizabeth, and I want her to be pro woman, pro power, and be able to keep do her thing with England and get this marriage in line. Although we all know this isn't gonna work out with the Archduke
For sure.
History tells us.
Yeah.
I'm going to agree with you. I don't like Gideon. I don't know what it is about him. I'm sympathetic towards the fact that his daughter just passed away. I thought he was a great father, at least when it counted. But he has no loyalty. Like, first you're in love with Mary, and it's like, 4 episodes ago, he was going to marry, get it? Pun intended. And then now he's in love with Elizabeth. So it's like, where does his loyalty stand? I mean, I know that in this episode, he promised Mary that he wouldn't tell Elizabeth about the threat or the coup, but then obviously he did. Obviously not in complete detail. So it's like, I kind of don't know where his loyalty stands. I feel like if you don't have loyalty, you don't really have anything. It's, do you love Mary? Do you love Elizabeth? And I feel like he's just attracted to a woman in power. Like, he's indirectly trying to also raise and station. He wants to make himself either the king of Scotland or the king of...
I disagree with you. I don't know. I feel like his loyalty. He showed us today in that episode where his loyalty lies, and it's with Elizabeth. Mary rejected him. Mary told him to leave. Like he, and it took. I feel like it did take him a while to get over Mary, and he was even kind of keeping Elizabeth at an arm's length because he didn't quite trust her. And then obviously when all the stuff with his daughter happened, like he's like, yes, I want to be your friend, and then that friendship kind of blossomed into a romance, which was not a good idea. But I think even though Mary might see him as a friend, I'm sorry, Mary. She made a mistake. She should have never told Gideon what happened and just kept him in Scotland. Like that would have been Lord Bothwell was, I think, the one who was like, why did you let him go? Yes, Mary. Why the heck did you let him go? Like
she's way too naive, but we love her.
It's interesting. I was always very curious to see if Gideon and Mary would ever have a reconnecting episode, and today they did. And so they didn't talk about half as many things as I thought that they would talk about.
It's very quick.
But at the same time, they got out the important stuff and were able to catch up in that. And I think Gideon's main hope always has been to figure out, okay, there's a peace between the two, and it can exist. And so at least they got that across, and that's why when Gideon told Elizabeth, I was pleasantly shocked.
Pleasantly shocked.
Pleasantly shocked because he's telling her like, listen, there's you have to do certain things, like marry this Catholic because it's going to save your life, and you could see him breaking down in that regard. He really wanted this for her. He really wanted her to save her life. And at the same time, for her to understand that it's not Mary that's a threat. And it's Elizabeth and Mary are not actual threats to each other. It's just the sheer nature of everyone else.
But this is the thing, Gideon. It's like, Elizabeth. She's a hothead. Like, you bring Mary into anything, she's going to freak out. And I just think he in some respect condemned Mary because Elizabeth is like, in the same way as Mary is very stubborn and is so threatened by the other one. And no matter like how I feel like he worded this to Elizabeth, and I don't think he worded it well, first of all, but no matter how he would have worded it, I think Drew was one of the writers on this, but I'm sure there's a reason you wrote that scene like that. But no matter how I feel like he would have worded that, Elizabeth would have freaked out. He should have just kept his mouth shut.
But here's the thing, if he keeps his mouth shut and somehow she ends up finding out that he didn't tell her about this, that looks 10 times worse. That he knew. Like, if word got out,
Yeah.
So it's kind of looking out for himself as well. Like, if this gets out, like, that could be treason that I didn't tell her that this was happening, that there was a coup being formed and all that,
And he wasn't completely honest, though, either. He kind of sugarcoated the whole
He
situation.
He did
He said
sugarcoat
Mary
it.
was trying to stop it, not more so that it was her seal getting retrieved.
Right.
It still could have been handled more delicately. Why did you let him go, Mary? Obviously, we need to move the story forward, but it just was there were so many times I felt like during this episode where I was like, no, if you would have just made a different decision in this moment, But they're obviously building up. When's the finale?
Episode 16.
And we're on
episode 11.
Oh my gosh, we only have
I know.
5 episodes
And there's so
left of
much.
Reign.
Like, so much. Like should happen.
Oh my gosh, I'm so heartbroken.
Yeah.
But it just goes to listen, in that period, and just even now more so, you got to make decisions fast, and it's not every decision is going to be a great decision. And in that regard, understand that Mary has no knowledge whatsoever that Gideon and Elizabeth are getting things on.
Very
this
true.
is true.
Mm-hmm.
So
this is true.
you gotta look at their perspectives.
Like, I wonder if Mary even knows Gideon's daughter died. Like, it's
I
like,
don't think so.
Nope.
Yeah.
There was no letter sent like, hey, by the way.
There's no Facebook
just
update.
so you know.
Yeah.
I feel like it was such a short conversation. I was even expecting when Gideon got on his horse to get away that she was gonna say something. It was just it was quick, like, hey, don't say anything. And I feel the same way. I'm like, why did you trust? Mary is very naive, I feel like, when it comes to men. She can be either extremely trusting or not trusting. And she just was like, okay, sure, go. And there was no conversation. The daughter didn't even come up. There's so many things I feel like if they were going to meet again, they should have said to each other. And nothing was said, and they just went their own ways.
Oh, sometimes that does happen. Like there's 800 meetings that I sometimes have, and I have like an entire checklist of things I should say.
Right.
And then in the meeting, none of it.
No, doesn't come out. Yeah.
I'm like, damn it!
I should have said that. Yeah.
Well, and also when like Gideon wakes up, like he's not only is Mary there, but Lord Bothwell, who's the guy who kidnapped him basically and knocked him out, as well as what's the Italian guy's name?
David.
Rizzo.
David Rizzo.
Yeah.
I was like, Rizzo. I was like, what? Like just like a 80s singer. But yeah.
On a quick side note, doesn't Bothwell have like an amazing smile all the time?
I'm
Yeah,
like
she
I
does.
am in love with him. I've sent Adam like a few like little like odes to Bothwell, and I need to continue to do it because like every episode Bothwell's, and I'm like
How do you feel about the man bun?
I'm into
here
it.
for it.
Yes,
I'm here for
yes.
it. Yeah.
He doesn't need to change anything.
Phil, how do you feel about the
good.
man bun, Phil? Are you loving it?
I'm in favor.
I'm
I think
Team
he's.
Bothwell.
To be honest,
It mixes it up completely.
I'll say this. I actually don't think the show does him as much justice as he is in real person. Like in real person, I understand what you guys are saying. I met the dude. Keetin gushed over the dude in person. I get it.
I know.
On the
had a
show,
moment.
I'm kind of like, him?
Yes, he looks the same on
Absolutely.
TV.
No, he doesn't.
Yes,
in
he does.
person.
He looks even better because he's in like
Wait, he doesn't look the
historic
same in
clothing.
person?
No, he
To
looks
me,
the
he
same
doesn't.
in person.
He looks better in person to me.
He looks great on.
Oh, he looks better in
and on TV.
person.
Yes.
Okay, that's good.
Yes.
I didn't
So
know
sorry,
the
Adam.
opposite.
I feel like we're just like
We're
completely
debating.
like.
I was like, does he face tune his photos? He doesn't look the same.
All right, but we digress. Anything left over in England that you guys want to say? I mean, most of it will sort of tie into Scotland, but nonetheless.
Anything else there? No.
Screw Darnley. I hate him.
Right?
I hate
All right,
him.
well,
Well, he's an Englishman. That's why I was thinking
He's a
England. Sorry.
snake.
Fair enough. I'm just glad Elizabeth has some actual suitors that don't have like buck teeth or
Oh
whatever.
yeah.
That was
the Arch-
horrendous.
Do you know who the Archduke kind of looks like though? Like an older version of Henry, like baby Henry. Like they have like very
they're
similar.
very
like I thought that
similar,
I was like, oh okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm wondering where did the pirate go? She sent the pirate off, right? Elizabeth did. Okay. I
You know
wonder
what
if
made
he's
me
coming
laugh?
back.
Just-
All these blonde boys.
Again, just a kind of quick side note, just how historically Europe always chooses the same names. Because his
Yeah.
name is Archduke Ferdinand. I was like, wait, we're about to get into World War One? Yeah. Archduke, really? What the hell?
I had to look it up. I was like, wait, who is this guy? This seems weird.
Yeah.
It was interesting the glance he gave over when he saw Elizabeth speaking to Gideon. I was kind of confused. First I saw him kind of flirting with the girl. Then he
right.
like looked over. I didn't really know what to think of that scene. But obviously there was some relevance to it if they made a point.
Right, to show it. Like, ooh, he knows something's up between the two of
Yeah.
them, maybe.
Yeah.
Because
We'll
he said he wants to
see.
give it a real chance.
Yeah.
Or he could just be another Donley.
Nah, I there's something
I don't
different
think
about
there's
him. He
anyone
reminds me
like
of. He
Darnley.
kind of reminds me of Luke in a way. Luke, who's with
Claude.
Claude.
Yeah.
Like he seems genuine.
That was a great moment by they're like both, I don't love you. Yeah, I'm working on it.
Yeah, I
Right.
really
That's
like.
sweet.
I
those
like them
two.
together. I hope they like figure it out.
I hope Laith shows up in the last episode for Greer. I don't know. I mean,
for
James
Greer.
is gone now.
Right.
And I know Jonathan said no, he's done, but I feel like
You're
they're
still
gonna
holding
I
out.
think they're gonna Jon Snow us with Laith. I think they will.
Well, we'll see. Let's fully dive into Scotland. Let's talk about Darnley. What a little sneak, for lack of a better term.
I hate him.
He just irked me so much this episode.
What
Completely.
is he like in real life?
Oh, the sweetest guy.
I'm sure
like,
he is,
super
yeah.
cool, super nice. That's why I was
guy.
like, what?
Yeah, Will Kelp, who plays him, amazing. It
Yeah.
couldn't be as but okay. So in terms of Darnley, though, I get the impression. Here's the thing. Yes, he's done his wrongs, and so has Mary, though. However, Darnley reverts to like a childish, stubborn, F you mentality of just like, okay, no, I'm gonna do this.
He's a teenage boy, but like in history, he was a teenage boy as well. So it's I think what's kind of confusing about it is he does it so well, but he doesn't look like a teenage boy. So you're kind of just like, grow up, you you
Right.
butthead. Like in my head, I'm just like, I just want to shake you.
Yeah, I mean, what's your guys' perspective on Darnley?
I mean, this episode, I felt so bad for Mary that the guy that she's married to is plotting against her. Not only does she have, other people trying to get her crown, but now it's like the one person who shouldn't be. And it's just because he wants the crown matrimonial, and he just can't be happy just being king. He's always got his ulterior motives, and she gave him a chance. She was starting to trust him a little bit more again. And he set up this whole thing that, like, if it came back, it was going to be on her. And Elizabeth would be going after her, not him. So that sets him up, if he got what he wanted, to become King of Scotland. And I mean, it just set the whole thing. I was just like, no, darling, Mary, leave him.
Is it one of those, like, even with the child, right? Is he just playing poker or trying to play like, poker so well where he's like calling all these bluffs, but then someone, obviously we're just continuing forth, and so he can't not then like fold his cards, if you will.
I think his ego is just so monstrous, and he can't allow himself to feel like defeated. So I don't think there's a genuine bone in his body. I think it's all a play. And the ironic part is that Mary's such like a hopeless romantic. Like, she's just been seeking love. And if he would have just been a good husband and a good father, she would have given him the crown matrimonial, but he wasn't willing to be patient. And it's just, his ego is just so disgusting. I mean, he pretty much threatened her life and said, without any care that his child is in her stomach, that, if you don't give me the crown matrimonial, I'll have your head cut off. I'll run to Queen Elizabeth and tell her that it was all you. And it's just, he has no remorse or any responsibility for his actions. He's just like a snake.
You know what I wish Mary would say? I wish Mary would be like, cool, go to Elizabeth, see what happens. Because
Right.
Elizabeth, I mean, this is the thing that I think I can respect from these women regardless, is like, if a man does them dirty, they're
Yeah.
like, screw you.
She
And
ripped that paper.
yeah, not only that, but I think they have a certain amount of small respect for each other, in the fact of like kind of empathy for
Right.
each other, and the fact that like they know so many men are kind of like lashing out to take their throne and don't see them as the rightful head of the country, that if he would go back like that, and like Elizabeth would be like, no, dude, I'm gonna take your head off, and then I'll deal with Mary later. Like,
Right.
first of all, you turned down my marriage proposal. You turned your back on me. You turned your back on England.
Right.
And then you're gonna blackmail Mary. Like,
Yeah.
how can I trust you? I don't know. I think Elizabeth would have been smarter than that, and I wish Mary would be like, bye.
Bye. Boy, bye.
Well, she certainly sent the message when she's there with her. Like, I always often wonder, like, how long do they wait before someone comes in to like see them? Because they were just like sitting,
Yes.
she's in the throne,
Sitting
she's got her
pretty.
henchman. As soon as he walked in, he knew what was up. That was a great scene.
That
was a
was a
great
great
shot.
scene. Yeah.
Who directed this episode? Because I know Megan was directing one
I know she.
episode.
Yeah, it's coming up.
Coming up, okay.
Yeah.
I just wish Bash would come back and just be like right behind Mary.
Yeah, and he's like in like druid robes,
Yes.
like Nostradamus style.
She literally
Exactly.
would have her perfect 3
Right.
between Bothwell, Bash, and Rizzo. Like, she would have nothing to worry about. She wouldn't even need a man.
Yeah, well,
See, I feel like after that scene, I feel like something's gonna happen to Darnley a little bit quicker. Because you can tell she's over it. She's like, how can I get out of this?
Well, it's one thing to be
Yeah.
over it, but like the fact that she says it to Bothwell, who has been very
Right.
not necessarily by the book, but very methodical in the way he does things. Yeah, he's taking that to heart.
do you know where Mary made a huge mistake in this episode? Is the fact that she had told nobody else that she was pregnant. Especially these two men who she's telling how much she trusts them and how much like they're her like
Risk
inner
your
circle
life for
and
me.
risk your
Right.
life, and basically forcing them to go into England and risk your life, and you're gonna hold like that huge piece of
Right.
information from them that they're going to find out eventually. And I wish Mary would have just announced this so much sooner when she had Darnley on her side. They could have announced it as like a happy couple. Then he couldn't use it against her. That's what's like, Mary. That was like another one of those moments where I was like, oh, if you would have just made a
Right.
one smaller, different decision, you could have avoided a lot of this. CW, you kill me.
Deborah Chow directed the episode, and Megan Follows directs episode 13 when we have Nicole.
Yes, I cannot wait for
So-
Nicole. I'm so excited.
Are you gonna be
No, because
love
I can't
her.
wait to meet the actress because like she's a character I love to hate and like I
Right.
love like
Yeah.
it's so much fun to interview those people and that's one of the reasons I wish I was here when Will was here because I just like the more we get to know Darnley, the more I love to hate him and so yeah, it's just so much fun to see how an actor gets into those characters.
I wonder how much fan hate they get on social media.
I mean, here's the thing. I know Anne sort of plays with it, right? Like when I called her the evil version of Lath, she tweeted that out. And, like, so she understands it's her character.
Right,
Yeah,
it's the
absolutely.
character, right?
You know, we're not hating on her. We're hating on the
No.
character
No.
herself is.
I remember when
Evil.
Frances died, I was on Adeline Kane's Instagram, and everyone was like, "No, Frances, bring him back. Say it's a joke."
Yeah.
So cute. It was like 40,000 comments like after like a day.
Aww.
They just were good for each other. That was when
Yeah.
love seemed like a possibility. Never again. Never again for poor Mary. Well, Bothwell.
Bothwell. Well, any other stray observations about any of our locations, any of our scenes? A lot happened. Very exciting
Yeah.
stuff.
So much happened.
This is a
Really
great
fun
episode. I really, really enjoyed it.
Do you know what though? There's one thing that I'm a little PO'd at Greer. Because when I mean obviously Mary was able to stand up for herself and like rip up the contract that Darnley wanted her to sign. But like Darnley like literally is just like shut up to Greer. Like that's basically
Right.
what she told her to say. And I'm sorry, Greer, like stand up for your friend. Be like, get out. Like I don't know. I don't care if he's the king consort.
Get outta here.
Mary is your queen. Mary is your best friend. And I wish Greer would have like maybe stood up and been like, oh, and then Mary be like, no, Greer, I got this, hon. But you know, I wish I could have seen that moment. But because I know Greer is a tough cookie.
Right.
You know.
And Mary's done so much for her.
Exactly. So come on, Greer.
Wow.
Yeah, she
Before
got
we
shut
judge,
down.
it's also it's a difficult time for
Different
women.
time. Right.
I
And
think
she
Mary
said
said
James
enough.
Right.
No,
By the
Mary
way-
did, but I'm just saying before, like, that's why if Mary was just like, it's okay, Greer, I got this. And then Mary, you know,
Here's
shut
the
it down, mic drop.
Personally, I know from personal experience when you do that to somebody, it's as if, pardon the term, you're chopping off their nuts. Meaning you're not good enough to stand up for yourself. I have to stand up for you. So I do think it was actually better in that situation for Mary just to do it and rip up what was the most beautiful written contract I've ever seen.
Right.
That's what all contracts were like back in the day. And, like, books, they were all, like, handwritten and, like,
Calligraphy,
drawn and
yeah.
beautiful contracts.
Yeah, I mean, just the top. May it be known.
I know.
So well written. All right. Well, you and I disagree. So there you go.
That's fine.
Not the first time.
You're not a girl. You don't get it. Sisters stand up for each other.
Yes,
And
we
you guys
do.
agree or disagree?
Yeah.
You guys
In
agree
this
with Keetin?
situation, I wish that Greer, like her, would have said more. I totally wish that. But I don't know about Mary saying, I got this, Greer. 'Cause- We'll see. I don't know.
I'm just
Yeah.
upset with Greer because she gave Mary a hard time about James leaving, when I feel like Greer's like the last person to judge anybody about their life decisions. So I feel like where Mary's been so understanding with Greer and like protected her and brought her to court, brought her daughter, made sure like no one questions anything. I just feel like, yes, Greer could have definitely said more, but I do feel like she could have just given her less of a hard time about her brother. And I do think that was Mary's moment, like tearing up that crown matrimonial was
yeah.
everything this episode. Like I feel like she's kind of taken a step back and she finally like stood her ground. Like
How gorgeous was
in
that
Phil's
green
words, she
nightgown,
had her.
too?
Yeah.
No, I completely agree with you, yeah. And that green nightgown.
She looks pregnant though. How does nobody think she's pregnant? She has a
I know.
little like.
She cannot hide it for
And I
that
think
much
they're
longer.
pushing her boobs up a lot more because
Yeah.
her boobs look like pregnant boobs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like when Rizzo and Bothwell were surprised, like when they said he said she was pregnant, they both turned around. I'm like,
look.
how do you not see that? Her waist is normally like this big,
Tiny.
like tied up, and now she has like a little, you know,
Maybe she's eating a lot of food.
like an extra piece of bread for dinner.
Like she was sailing across the ocean. You know, now she's in Scotland. She's like, yeah, I'm gonna eat.
The queen chowing down,
Exactly.
drinking wine.
Alrighty, but as we always do, we have Castle Corner and kicking it off this week. The newbie.
Is this the hazing process?
Partially,
Or
but
if
it's
you-
I think
also
I
the
had to read it the first time too.
it's also the
I did.
endearing process. This is what the fans love. Don't you want to be loved by the fans?
No, actually, as you know, I had a whole list of options. I really was interested in this castle. It's absolutely gorgeous. So
what do we got
I
this
will
week?
take the honor.
Please.
So we have the Norman Castle, which is actually known as the Venus Castle. So it's located on the top of Mount Eris. It's on the northwestern coast of Sicily. So it's located on the edge of the mountain peak, and it's kind of, I mean, it's not like a really close shot, but the whole castle is made of stone. So like virtually it looks like it's coming out of the cliff, and it's like right on the edge. And it has a panoramic view of, it's called Trapani, which is a city close to Sicily. So what the most interesting part about this is the reason why they refer to it as the Venus Castle is that it was built on where was a temple that they would worship the goddess of fertility, which is obviously Venus. And it was made by the Normans who are like descendants of the Vikings in the 12th century. And so we'll go down. So, I mean, this is not a close-up, but I think so what they were saying is also inside of the castle, there's the actual bath where Venus used to bathe herself, and there was like wells. And even though there's so much like romanticism around this castle, and it's, you know, referred to like the goddess of fertility, they actually say that, so basically when you walk through the halls, they have like shackles that are like rusted where they used to like hold prisoners. And the Balliol Tower, which is the tower right there lifted up on the top, that was actually used for like defense against invaders. And then actually during World War II, they used this very castle to hold prisoners. So even though it's a gorgeous castle, there's a lot of adversity to the history, and it's obviously claimed to be one of the most beautiful pieces of history. And I'm actually looking forward one day when I make my rounds around the world to going around and checking out the castle.
Awesome.
Nice.
Talk about having the high ground.
Yeah. Right.
I in particular like this castle a lot.
Yeah.
Good
I
find.
Good job.
I wonder though if there was like an earthquake. It's literally like it sits on the edge. Like I feel like it would just
Right.
come
Ooh.
tumbling down.
So many castles I feel like are built like that too.
Well, I mean, it survived thus far, so, you know, who knows? I mean, between weather and anything of that nature, the fact that it's still standing and it looks the way it does says something about the architecture in general, and so...
Yeah.
They just don't build the things the same way these days.
Yeah, right?
not like back in the 12th century, am I right?
It's like you buy a house and they give you like this much backyard. You don't even have room for like a barbecue.
So yeah, I really like this castle a lot. I would want to visit this castle as well. I want to visit all the castles we highlight, but
Yeah.
this one in particular, I do like the cliffs and everything like that. In some sense, remember like the live action Jungle Book when there's like the monkey castle. Kind of
Yeah.
reminds
Bill
me of
Murray's
that.
character, King Louis.
Right.
Oobe-doo.
No, not the animated version.
No, but they sing that song in the
A little bit, yeah. It's like in the
score.
score.
The 1994 version? Yeah.
Oh, wait.
No, in the new version they kind of
No,
have
not
like
that
a-
one.
Oh, you're talking about the
The 1994 version.
But they also sing that song.
So
Okay.
it's also funny, I read somewhere, because obviously it was built upon the Temple of Venus, that people actually go there believing, like people that can't have children, that if they go there, they'll get like some sense of like fertility. I mean,
Oh, that's very appropriate with Mary being pregnant right now.
Exactly.
I know.
Yeah.
There you
I'm
go.
sorry, everything I know Disney movie news, man. I got it.
So it must. So if she's pregnant now, it must have been Francis then.
No.
Why they couldn't?
No, her and Darnley like oh yeah, it was Francis because he was
But wait,
sickly.
she got pregnant before, but she had a miscarriage with Francis.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
But just one hit wonder, Donnelly. He's got the magic
I know,
down.
right?
He got the magic. stuff.
really wants to have that air.
Before we go off the deep
Come on,
end,
guys.
all right, why don't we switch over to predictions?
Actually, sorry, real quick. I don't think he wants the heir, because remember in the scene with Mary, he's like, if you have this child, it's a threat to me, because if he doesn't have the crown matrimonial, the child automatically becomes king.
Right.
So I don't even think he wants the heir.
Well, he does, but he wanted to use it for. He thought the heir was like the perfect way to get the crown matrimony, and now he doesn't. He's like, okay, well now I'm gonna blackmail you with this child.
Yeah,
But
poor
now,
child.
but this is what the other good thing about this, which I think Darnley is completely missing, is like, dude, now your family, like you're in a line of kings now.
Exactly.
Your bloodline is royalty now once this child is born. So,
Right.
dude, you've done enough. You've
You
really
did
Happy
good
with
work.
what you got.
You did good work.
Exactly.
And it's crazy because when he was
You
in
did your
love,
job.
when he was in love with the girl from back home, he didn't even want to be king. His mother's like, no, you're gonna go, you're gonna meet Mary, you're gonna go to court, and he's like, I don't want to be king, and I love this girl and I want to marry her. So it's like, what happened to that?
Well, she's died.
Oh,
Again, it's that childlike stubbornness of like, I want this, I want that. Okay, I can't have that. Well, I want this.
Yeah.
So here
good
today,
at that.
gone tomorrow.
and I want $1 million.
Exactly.
I want it now.
Give it to me now.
Veruca Salt, like Willy Wonka? I want the world. You know what I mean.
Keep singing. All right, predictions.
Oh.
Okay. Should I just go first? I kind of touched on one.
Your AfterBuzz TV.
You do you, girl.
Oh, did me. Charles is gonna be dead real soon. Probably in the next 2 or 3 episodes. They're going to fake it like he got sick. I wouldn't be surprised if he started getting poisoned, how I don't know. So he's gonna be dead soon. Because if we only have 5 episodes left.
Yeah.
Nicole is gonna be the one who gets to Rising Station because of the voodoo Mama Juju from Catherine, because it was her hair. And it's such a Harry Potter moment. It's like when Hermione by accidentally, when she's making the polyjuice potion, gets the cat's hair and turns into a cat. And Darnley is also, I think, going to, I feel like they're gonna have to speed ramp it.
Yeah.
In the next couple episodes, I feel like we're gonna get a speed ramp, and I think Darnley is gonna get what is coming to him.
Yes, he is.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to jump on yours
Go,
on
take it.
Charles. Definitely. I think this next episode, probably. Yeah, either that or the following one. And then as far as Darnley goes, I feel like that last scene kind of just told how they're all 3 looking at him and she was over it. I think what's coming to him is going to come pretty soon. Probably 2 episodes coming up. Maybe even next episode. Because, if we only have 5 left... I don't want to spoil it for the people who don't know what's coming. So
I just thought of something
who says
that
it has to
after
end
you
that
go.
way? But
Okay, so I definitely think that the way they're going to wrap the whole show, so they're going to start setting the motions now, is that Elizabeth and Mary are both going to choose love. So I think ultimately Mary's going to end up with Lord Bothwell and Elizabeth's going to end up with Gideon. And that in itself is going to kind of be like a flag for peace, because they both chose love over ranking and marrying family for reasons to take over each other's throne. I do think Henry's going to become king, but because I do believe there's going to be a cost of that black magic. One thing we've learned over the last 4 seasons is you cannot bring black magic into the show without there being some sort of cost. So I just don't know what that is. I think that's going to be Charles's life maybe, and then that's where Henry comes in. And then that is an interesting note. I'm going to jump off the brush in that it is Nicole that's going to rise to station, and maybe Henry takes her as his mistress or as his wife, since they kind of were giving each other the eye earlier.
Yeah.
well, they had a very short preview because I watched it on DirecTV, and from the preview, we're kind of Bothwell and Rizzo are kind of very much okay. We gotta figure out what to do with Darnley, and so that becomes their driving mission. So I'm excited to see how they go about it. I think Bothwell, as I said, very level-headed, and I think he can figure this out. For Mary, obviously it's Mary's biggest thing right now, so interesting to see what'll happen next.
Can I have one more thing I just need to add? If we remember that Megan will be directing episode 13, that won't be a very Catherine-heavy episode, which if what she's done in the past when she's directed episodes, she's only maybe in 1 or 2 little pieces of scenes. So I cannot imagine that being an episode where Charles dies or anything. So I feel like then maybe the next 2 episodes will really be focusing on Mary and what's going on with her, and maybe Elizabeth, and a lot less of what's going on in French court. And then 3 episodes from now, we'll maybe get that big moment when Charles kicks the bucket.
Yeah.
So do we think
Good
Darnley's
point.
going to get killed off?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
In history, he
Yeah.
dies.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Spoiler
you live in an alternate fantasy universe where Elizabeth and Mary are happy. Yeah.
Nope.
Positivity. I really want Francis to come back. I know that sounds crazy. Wouldn't that be amazing? Or as a ghost, comes and talks to Charles, Charles, abdicate
Like a
the
Force
throne.
ghost. He's like Obi-Wan.
Right?
He's Charles as
He's
Obi-Wan.
part of the Force.
I feel like the ratings would go through the roof if they somehow brought Francis or Francis's ghost back on one of the episodes.
But ratings don't really matter to them at this point because they've already been canceled, unfortunately.
Well, yes and no. Again, you could pull a Nashville.
You could
Listen,
pull
stranger
Netflix.
things have happened.
Yeah, you're a stranger.
Netflix, please pick it up.
Netflix.
Netflix.
Somebody
Netflix.
or Hulu, take Reign, please
Exactly.
Or Amazon.
Or Amazon,
Amazon.
yeah.
Anyone. All right, so that about does it for us. Thank you as always. Be sure to comment, rate, subscribe. We love when you guys do that. You guys have very good opinions on your own, so it's always fun to read them. In the meantime, where can people follow you?
They can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Lena Nori.
And you guys can find me on all social media at Alina Vision, and that's Vision with 2 S's.
You guys can find me all over the interwebs at Keetin Marchi.
And follow us here at AfterBuzz TV, and feel free to check out my website, philsvitek.com. There you go.
Nice.
Thanks as always for joining us. I will be out for the next 2 weeks, I believe, so I apologize in advance. I will be gone for Nicole when she comes in, but I'm sure you guys will hold down the fort. Happy
Yeah.
Mother's Day to everyone in advance.
We're going to miss you, Phil.
I'm sure you will. All right, but nonetheless, you guys will hold the
We
fort.
will.
Yes.
Girl power over here.
Yep.
That's
Yes.
right. A lot to look forward to. We'll see you next time. Bye.
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 From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.